Hi, my name is Tammy Slode, and my book group just read The Four Winds by Kristen. If you read The Nightingale, you're familiar with Hannah's ability to create complex characters and tell an exciting story with a strong female protagonist, and she does it again in this book. The Four Winds takes place in Texas in the late 1920s, and it is a story of the Dust Bowl. She makes you feel the dust, and it is relentless. As the characters react to the difficulties they face, the story is gripping. It's one of those books where you sit down to read and look up and have no idea what time it is. While the author compresses some events and government policies to make it work for her story, the basic timeline is true to what many families experienced during this difficult period in America's past. The story resonates with our current pandemic experience, illustrating the widespread suffering from that time, as well as examples of individual compassion, and ultimately raising questions about government responsibility. I am really looking forward to discussing this with my book group, and I think you will too.
Hi, I'm here to review The Push by Audrain, which is a new novel, a psychological thriller that will have you on the edge of your seat from the first page until you're finished. How well do we know our children? As new mothers, we always worry about every little hiccup, cough, cry. What does it mean? Is it normal? Blythe Connor, the narrator of this novel, is a new mother who comes from a long line of terrible and dysfunctional mothers. Blythe is determined to change her fate. She's determined to be a different kind of mother. She has everything she could ever ask for: a wonderful and adoring husband, an extended family, a writing career, and a new baby. She desperately wants to be a good mother, but from her first push in childbirth and meeting her newborn baby, she knows that something is off. From the minute her baby Violet is born, she feels that she doesn't have a connection to her. She doesn't feel the bonding that other new mothers feel, and she wonders if it's something she's doing or if it's something wrong with the baby. It's not until Violet gets to preschool that Blythe realizes something may be wrong with Violet. An incident at the school where a little boy gets pushed off the top of a slide makes her realize that Violet may have something wrong with her. Are Blythe's suspicions about Violet real? As Blythe's paranoia about Violet grows, her marriage starts to slowly disintegrate, and everything that once brought her happiness and joy now seems to bring her nothing but misery. And like all new mothers, she second guesses everything she does. Because Blythe is the narrator, we never hear anybody else's point of view. So we don't know if she's making this up in her head or if other people actually feel the same way. We do know that her husband Fox questions her mothering skills. Blythe eventually does go on to have another baby, Sam, and she feels the complete opposite for Sam than she felt for Violet. She is determined to be the best mother she can and feels strong bonds with him. Because the book is told from Blythe's point of view, your opinions of what you think is happening may not actually be happening. These may just be what Blythe is thinking. As a mother, what appealed to me most about this book was that as new mothers, we all feel inadequate sometimes, and we always question our actions on a daily basis. Are we making the right decisions for our child? Are we giving them enough love? Does being a good mother always require selflessness and unconditional love? Reader, I urge you to pick up this book. Find out for yourself if Blythe's cry out for help is warranted, or if she's going down the same path as her mother and grandmother before her, down the path of bad mothering. The most important question you'll ask yourself as you read this book is, does maternal instinct truly exist? Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the book.
Hi, I'm here to tell you about Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. It was a book recommended to me by Pat and Marianne here at the library for my book club. I've read a couple books by Maggie O'Farrell in the past, so I was excited to dive into this historical fiction. Maggie O'Farrell takes a handful of facts. One, William Shakespeare had a wife Agnes and 3 children, one of which, Hamnet, also known as Hamlet, died when he was 11. He died around the time that the plague was rampant in England. And lastly, that shortly thereafter, William Shakespeare wrote Hamlet. So she takes these facts and weaves a a somewhat suspenseful and exciting story, mostly about Agnes, his wife, and the children, and what happens after Hamnet passes away at age 11. What I liked about the story was that I couldn't stop thinking about it as I was reading. I even went to look for facts about William Shakespeare and his family to further understand what was happening and what might be happening. I also loved it because when I was done with it, I couldn't wait to talk about it with my book club. So, if you're up for historical fiction, I highly recommend Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell.